Well, the far-right National Rally remains on top of the latest polls here in France. It would be the first a far-right force, to lead a French government since the Nazi occupation. Snap legislative elections, less than 10 days away. The party is comfortably ahead of the left-wing alliance called the New Popular Front. The New Popular Front has been holding a press conference in downtown Paris. Our reporter Claire Paccalin attending that, and we can speak to her now. Hello to you, Claire. What's in the New Popular Front's manifesto when it comes to their economic policies?
Well, I'm going to speak to you in a quiet voice, Will, because the press conference is actually still going on just behind me. We have been getting more details coming out of that manifesto. What's very clear to see is that this left-wing New Popular Front wants a total break with the economic policies of Emmanuel Macron, of course, those being argued for by his Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal. Many of those economic policies have revolved around reducing taxes for French people. Now, the New Popular Front says it wants tax justice. It wants an end to what it calls the laissez-faire, the sit back and let it happen economic policies of Emmanuel Macron. They say those are Emmanuel Macron and his Prime Minister's economic policies. It wants an end to them. It wants tax increases, particularly on the wealthy as well as big businesses. And it says that targeted tax increases would allow more investment in public spending, in schools, in healthcare, in universities, and environmental policies. It also says wages need to go up. It wants to increase the minimum wage by 14%. It wants to increase wages for civil servants as well. It argues that increasing wages will allow people to spend more, which of course will help businesses and improve the economy across the spectrum. This, of course, coming in the context of heavy criticism on the New Popular Front from its political opponents, who have been saying that its economic manifesto is unworkable and just selling pipe dreams, fairy tales to French people. This press conference is really the Popular Front's attempt to say, no, we know what we're doing. We've invited 3 economists here to this press conference, and they all say that our economic policies will work.
Yeah, tax justice, a total break. Those are ambitious programs. So what does the New Popular Front say in terms of how it could finance it? What details did it provide?
So the details that it's providing, first of all, the big argument it's really saying Emmanuel Macron and his Prime Minister Gabriel Attal have talked up the successes of the last 7 years that we've had Emmanuel Macron as President of France. And this left-wing New Popular Front is saying, hold on, that's exaggerated. Those successes are totally exaggerated. They say that there's been more inequalities in the last 7 years, that the extra investment in France has actually not been as big as the government likes to make out, that the attempts to French growth, it says, in the last few years has at times been below that of the EU average. So it's really trying to counter the arguments that we saw the Prime Minister give yesterday, Gabriel Attal, as he was laying out his manifesto. He was saying, look at all the great things we've done in the last 7 years. We've reduced unemployment. We managed to get France through the COVID crisis and keeping small and big businesses afloat. This left-wing New Popular Alliance is saying, hold on, the government is selling you this idea of this fantastic successes it's had in the last few years, but our programme will actually really bring about change, and we will find the way to spread wealth better in France. One of the arguments we just saw in the room was that French people, according to the left-wing New Popular Front, are very attached to this economic model of solidarity, so around a third of the country's wealth being spread out among the country, largely in public services. The New Popular Front says it wants to protect that and argues that Emmanuel Macron's government has damaged that and made it less effective, particularly for those who are lower earners. So we'll see. This is one of the manifesto policies that we're seeing from the left-wing Popular Front, but really their aim is to try to show that their policies are workable if their candidates were to win the most number of seats in the parliamentary elections, and therefore if they do, that would mean that they would be able to nominate, or certainly, the next Prime Minister of France.